All right, everybody, welcome back to the Game House. If you've been paying attention at all, and I know you have, you've seen some previous interviews where I've talked with members of the CGL about their individual tournament. I've talked with Skate Action about the CGL. I've talked with other people when it comes to the fighting game. You can find those interviews here on the Game House channel. But I have with me today Skate and one other gentleman who is pretty darn high up in the whole CGL with an important announcement. But before we get to that announcement, I want to do a quick roundup of what these guys have been doing for the console end. Now, if you understand esports at all, you know that the primary focus has been on, the primary focus is usually on the PC end. And that's fine, but that doesn't serve the entire gaming world. And so these guys at the CGL saw an opportunity and they have grabbed it with both hands and strangled the crap out of it. So let me just do a quick rundown of what these guys have done in a short period of time. You have the Overwatch League on console. Now, it's not just some random tournament that they threw together. It's a full league. It had the blessing of the primary Overwatch League, the Pro League. They had the blessing of the blessing of the publisher to host on the off days. That's a huge step. I don't think anybody really realizes what you need to do to go through that to be able to have the complete blessing of a powerful publisher like that. On top of that, I did an interview a couple of weeks ago, and that league will be starting up here shortly. And I found out from one of my guests here today that when it comes to console combat, they have 300 fighters signed up between Xbox and PS4. That's huge. Getting 300 people to show up for a league like this shows that there is a need, and these guys here at the CGL have met the demand. On top of that, and it actually gets better from here. On top of that, they will have a Rainbow Six tournament coming up starting this weekend. They run Apex Legends tournaments every other weekend. They're in the Smash community. Those events have been going. You can find those on the site consolegamingleague.com, and they're also in Call of Duty. On top of that, their site has all sorts of great content. They're wanting to do a podcast, but they're just so freaking busy running these awesome tournaments they don't have time. But I have with me two gentlemen from the CGL. One of them is Skate Action. Always good to have Skate with me. And then Swift. So I'm going to let these two guys introduce themselves, and then we'll go from there. So go ahead, guys.
Hey, everybody. You probably are familiar with my voice. I am Skate Action. Bill, we've chatted many times now about things going on in the CGL, like you mentioned. I am a caster for the CGL, a little bit of production work here and there. But I help basically keep things in order with the stream team, as well as Swift, who has joined with me here.
Yo, so humble, Skate, dude. You're the new lead of the team, bro. We talked about this. One of the things.
I don't think there's ever an official announcement, so I was trying to keep it under wraps as long as I could. But I guess the cat's out of the bag at this point.
You know what? That was the super secret announcment that's going on.
You didn't even tell me we were announcing it.
Oh, we got him. We got him.
Well, hold on a second. So I was just going to say, Skate is also, he's the Bo Jackson of esports. The man at South by Southwest, he won Hearthstone and their CGL event. I mean, he's the freaking Bo Jackson, right?
Yeah, Swift was there and actually witnessed it. That's the great thing about it there. He got to witness the greatness.
Swift, you're the man.
Yeah, man, it was actually kind of funny. So I had I was gonna play in the Overwatch tournament, but it kept getting delayed. And there was a really cool panel. This is the level of nerd that I am. There was a really cool info panel that the oh goodness, I can't remember now. I think she's the VP of marketing for Riot Games, was hosting with ESPN, and I really wanted to go and sit in on that. So I skipped out on the championship team. Sadly enough, I was this close, this close to being a part of it, man.
Yeah, console master race.
Console master race.
I like to think that you joke, but we had 3 of the guys actually brought controllers, plugged them in, and didn't use mouse and keyboard. They played the whole tournament with a controller.
Yeah, yeah. That's what Skeet said. That was hilarious.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts. But it is what it is. But thanks for having me, man. It's always fun. I know you and I we've chatted several times, but it's never, the timing's never really lined up for me to be on the show. So
Right.
I appreciate it, man. I'm Swift. I'm one of the co-owners actually of the CGL, the Console Gaming League. And for the longest time, for the past year and a half, I think I was the stream team lead, was managing, making sure we had production coverage, the stream was functioning the way that it was supposed to, try and grow our Twitch presence. But I've since kind of passed that mantle over to Skate, and my new responsibilities are just kind of focusing on our digital content overall, right? So we've already got Twitch. That's been phenomenal for us, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But we also want to try and utilize some of the other platforms we have at our disposal. YouTube's phenomenal to help provide long-term content, right? Twitch only lets you keep stuff on their channel for a period of time until you're partnered.
Right.
So we're going to start kind of foraying into YouTube. We've got plans for, training videos with Mortal Kombat 11 coming out. We've got a robust Smash scene. So we're talking about doing some kind of tech videos in that realm. So we got a lot of things planned and how we're going to utilize some additional platforms going forward.
Very nice. So now, before we get to this awesome announcement that you guys have, I want to go into the sort of the backstory of this, because from what you've told me and from the conversations that we've had, you guys have really captured an opportunity that there's an underserved community when it comes to Xbox and PS4. There are people that genuinely want to compete on a regular basis. They're good at what they do, but there's just hasn't been the central place when it comes to the console side to really compete. So sort of talk about your conversations that you have with your co-owner Jake and your staff. Sort of talk about the conversations that you guys had when this whole thing was sort of coming to life.
So I can't take full credit, man. So the Console Gaming League was actually already up and running and fully functioning when I came on board. I joined as a player, actually. So I'll take you back to the good old days of 2017, I believe it was. Maybe
what a year.
Maybe even older than that. So I think the original founders were Matt, you may know him as Wittycalf, and the one and only Jay, who I don't believe is known by any other names. So oddly enough, those two guys, they kind of started realizing that Overwatch comp, even back then, wasn't super awesome, and that it was better in 6-stack pugs. So they kind of just started putting together groups on Discord, which was relatively new at the time as well. And it started to grow from there. So I joined, I was playing with just my regular 6-stack, joined CGL with my pug partner, Just T-Buck. Shout out, Just Buck. And we got picked up by Team Crisis and just kind of played in the league for several months. It was around that time that I think we had the Only Girl, Sultan, and a few others were kind of the organizing heads of what at the time was actually the X League, the Overwatch X League, and before we converted over to OXC, the Overwatch Xbox Community, and that was when we were. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about Overwatch, but that was when we were pretty much dedicated entirely to Overwatch. We didn't support anything else. The whole community was based on Overwatch. How do we make ourselves the premier Overwatch scene for console, right? And we really started to grow. We had a solid product. Salt and Pepper, Ryan does a phenomenal job putting together some of these overlays between myself, Sultan, Sarge, and a few other early adopters. Kind of started to build this stream team of sorts where people just got together and we kind of self-taught, learned OBS, streamed the games, and started to grow following from there. And then we started to get people like Skate and a few of the other guys coming in season. When did you join Skate? Season 4?
Season 5.
Season 5. Okay, so that was right before we converted over to CGL, because we converted to CGL midway through Season 5. I think when Fortnite started to really blow up and become super popular, we realized a bunch of people in the community had left Overwatch, still wanted to be a part of the community, still wanted to be in the family, so to say, that we had created here, but they didn't want to play Overwatch anymore. So we realized we kind of needed to pivot. And it was about that time that some of the other guys, Jake, kind of approached us. His friend Jackson, who's kind of who's behind the scenes. If you don't communicate with Jackson, I'm not surprised. He kind of handles a lot of our social media and marketing output. Kind of approached us and like, hey guys, you got a really good thing here. How do you feel about expanding to other games and PlayStation? And we're like, that's kind of crazy, but I think we could do it. And it was at that time that myself and Headrammer were kind of brought into like the ownership group to kind of help make some of these decisions and steer us through what was, I mean, Skate, correct me if I'm wrong, brother, but it was it was kind of rocky there, right? Like the end of Season 5 going into the start of Season 6, there was a lot of uncertainty. We really grew so quickly that it's tough to handle that kind of explosive growth. So we kind of learned on the fly, definitely made some mistakes, but I think we've come out the other end stronger, wiser for it, and it's taken us a little longer than we would have liked to start expanding into these other games, but now we've got this. We keep saying staff, but I do want to stress everyone in the CGL is completely volunteer. The whole thing's entirely self-funded, self-organized. Okay. I mean, I haven't gotten paid yet. I think I only end up spending money on CGL. I don't know, Skate, if you've gotten stuff that I haven't, man.
No, I haven't yet. I'm still hoping that the check shows up in the mail.
Yeah, man, you and me both, brother. So, the goal obviously is down the road we can be able to turn this into something, and kind of my elevator pitch, so to say, is like there was a time when MLG was nothing, right? It was just a bunch of guys playing Halo in local LAN tournaments, and that ended up expanding and blowing up into what MLG is today.
Yeah.
Or I should say what it was, pre Halo 5. That was kind of a death blow. But you can see the vision, right, when you start to think of it in those terms, and that's kind of what we're working towards and what we're trying to do. So that's the genesis, man. That's my story. I know it was a little long-winded. I have a tendency to ramble, but
that's all right. No,
that's kind of where it came from and how we got to where we are now.
Yeah, and I think that your story is, and if this sounds like that I'm trying to diminish what you've done, please don't take it that way. But your story you're right. Your story is a common story. You get a group of people who are very passionate and are willing to sacrifice in order to make something great. So you sacrifice short term. Here we are. So if you came in 2017, here we are 2 years later, and so you've gone through the growing pains. You've had the arguments in the Discord. You've called each other some names, and then you've had to go apologize to each other. But you guys have. I mean, you're on the radar for. I mean, you're on Blizzard's radar. That speaks a ton to your guys' commitment, your work, your willingness to appreciate the process and work the process to the conclusion that that you will have. And I'm always thankful when you guys, especially Skate, who's made time for me to talk about some of this stuff, to see the growth. And I'm like, this is great. These guys are doing what everybody else wants to do, but they don't have it in, most people don't have it in them to sacrifice short term for the long term payoff. So I'm excited as heck for you guys. So I think we've pretty much wasted enough time. What's the magic announcement?
We've set the stage.
We have. What is the magic announcement, my friend? What is it?
Well, so I think the magic announcement dovetails in beautifully to what you just said. So you said we're sitting here, we're sacrificing our time and effort and resources into something that we think is going to grow. And I don't disagree with you, but I see it a little differently, right? I see it as an investment.
Mm-hmm.
an investment in the future of the community, investment in the future of gaming and what we have here. So the announcement is for the CGL, the Console Gaming League's streamer partnership program. So we're going to be accepting applications for streamers that want to be affiliate streamers for the Console Gaming League, and it doesn't require any sort of upfront cost or required payouts from the streamer. It's literally the and I think we sent over a graphic for you. I don't know if you have a website you can include that with with the podcast announcement here, but basically it'll be pretty simple. So the benefits of being an affiliate streamer is you get listed as an auto host on our main channel. You get random gifted subs from CGL. So periodically on our live streams, we will get, during our tournaments or our games or broadcasts, we'll do sub giveaways to other channels, to our affiliate channels, not to our own. And that'll help drive viewers to your channels to see your content. You'll get social media promotions, a minimum of 4 per month for your stream and your content. You'll get features during our broadcasts. So if we have highlight reels or breakdown shows or what have you, your personal streamer content will be featured on our channel as well. And then you'll be actually featured. You'll have a featured channel within our Discord to interact with your community however you see fit, and we'll cross sub and cross promote as we see fit. And that's really our way of kind of giving back and helping support some of the small streamers, right? So I know Skate had a huge push this week to get to 250 followers, and that was that was kind of our way of saying, that's what we want to see in the community, and we want to shout him out because he kind of had access to some of this information a little early, because 250 followers is one of the minimum requirements, right? But honestly, if you're putting out content, if you're making great content, for lack of a better word, you can hit 250 followers pretty easily. It'll take a little bit of time, may take a couple of weeks, but you'll 100% get there. We also recommend, if you want to be a part of the program, make sure you've got a Twitter. Social media is huge. Make sure you've got some sort of a branding, little logo, maybe, or some sort of icon or name. Generally helps just differentiate yourself from everybody else. And that kind of covers the crux of it. The reason we say this is the biggest announcement for CGL is it's our way of kind of giving back to the community. We know there are a lot of people in the community who love playing games, and they love playing games with their friends. And a lot of people, myself included, would love to make games my career, right? But often it's so hard to get that foot in the door, to get your break, to find that first opportunity and to get noticed. Because once you're noticed, once you hit that treasured affiliate status, and then you're staring down the barrel of, wait a minute, I need 75 average viewers to hit partner, it can be a little daunting. So we view this CGL streamer partnership program as that middle ground, right? So we know we already have a lot of great content creators in the community. I want to shout out Captain Awesome on the PlayStation 4. That guy has been one of the original brand ambassadors for Console Gaming League now for months. He reached out to me back in, I believe it was December, asking if we'd support him and help him hit affiliate status. So we brought him on board. We gave him a couple of stream assets, some visuals that he can include with his stream, started shouting him out on our social media, hyping him up in some of our broadcasts, and he's blowing up right now. He's getting shout outs from the Atlanta Reign. So
wow.
And then Dazzle, shout out to Dazzle. He's been putting on some phenomenal content over on his personal channel. If you don't follow him, I highly recommend it. Follow Captain Awesome as well. They both do phenomenal work. And Captain Awesome's got an incredible story. I highly encourage you to check out his hero video on YouTube. It's moving, to say the least. But that's just a small microcosm of what we're trying to grow. I'm sure those are two guys that actively reached out to us asking for support, and I'm sure there are tons more out there on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, Atari, Dreamcast, whatever you're making, man. As long as it's got a controller, we'd love to support you here on the Console Gaming League. So that's the announcement. I'm sure you've got some questions, but
I do. So
So fire away, brother.
Okay, no problem. So before I get started, I'll make sure, and this graphic that you gave me, I will stick it on the overlay for this audio. In fact, it's on there right now. Everybody watching this interview will be able to see that graphic. I will put it right as you announce it. Bang! It'll pop up, and then it'll be, oh, here's all the stuff you can do. Now, first things first. I'm starting to see this across multiple products, is that people are identifying the opportunities with Twitch that they're not either choosing not to do or they don't see. And people that have followed me know I've interviewed a couple of other people and a couple of other groups that are using the Twitch API and creating their own products. What you're doing here is that, and the way you said it's absolutely perfect. You're the bridge between affiliate and partner. There's this gap in there. When people hit their affiliate, they're all excited. Yes, awesome. And they go, holy crap, I have to get to 75 concurrents on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Partner, that's a giant.
That's a big number.
That's a giant leap. So there's a gap in there of people that are struggling with 30 and 40 going, what do I got to do? What do I got to do? What do I got to do? And so, I mean, I got to say, you guys are grabbing the opportunities that are there right in front of you. So great job. I love what you're doing. So if somebody wants, I guess the question is it just as simple as somebody who wants to be in the program to send you an email on the site or on social media?
That's a great question. I probably should have included that in the. I was just too excited, man. No, there will be a site. So we put a lot of work. Ryan has done. I keep using. So we all got to meet each other in Austin a little while back at South by Southwest. So I gotta. It's that weird, like, do I call you Skate Action or do I call you DJ? But so yeah, so Ryan, aka Salt and Pepper, did a phenomenal job putting together our website, and there will actually be, when we announce this program at 5 p.m. on Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday, May 10th, the actual sign-up link will go live. So there'll be a link on our website. You can apply for the Stream Partnership Program. It's not going to be as simple as everyone who applies and meets the requirements, line items, is approved. We hope to approve as many as we can, but there, we want to make sure it's kind of on brand. Right. Console Gaming League is first and foremost, we're family friendly. We know that there are a lot of games and gamer culture itself can be kind of pervasive. So we really take a strong stance to try and make sure that what we're putting forth is really family friendly and player first. So we want to make sure that's why we're going to ask for people's social media handles, Twitch info, all of that good stuff. So there's going to be a vetting process to make sure that the content that you're creating, you may have a fan base, and that's fine, but we want to make sure it kind of fits with what we're looking to do here within the Console Gaming League. So we hope to take as many as we can, but there are going to be some parameters in there.
Right, and and that's also that's important for growth, is that you want to grow the right way. I mean, if you just let everybody in, that's great, but then the problem is that you let everybody in, and so you want to make sure that if you say family friendly, that if some parent like me has a 13, 14, 15-year-old kid that wants to get involved, and I see family friendly, and I tune into something that my kid is doing, and then people being mean to each other and swearing all the time, I'll be like, what the hell are they doing over there?
Exactly, man.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So that's important, and I love that you guys have already thought of that. It's like, you want to grow the right way. We want to set the right example. We want to be the thing that everybody thinks that we should be, and that's make sure that there is a place for having a competitive side, but in the end we all shake hands and we all say thank you very much and move on. We don't take stuff personally. We don't swear at each other. We don't it just amazes me that we rail against the toxic nature of gaming, but only when it feels like that it is feels like that we should. But in the down times and the off times when it still exists, we're like, yeah, that's just sort of how things are. And so I really love that you guys have been proactive. Like, hey, yes, you can apply, but not everybody who plays Fortnite with their three friends isn't. Not everybody that plays Fortnite with their three friends is just going to be able to show up and be in. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, going forward, what does this mean for what does this program mean for your established brands? Like, for example, this season's Overwatch went well for you guys. Great event, very popular. People love the crap out of it. As far as the cash you gave away was great. What does this mean for Overwatch going forward? Also console combats and everything.
Honestly, I think they go pretty much hand in hand. So one of the other things that we're going to be doing going forward is Skate and I. The biggest part of this, right, is when we have these events. The events are fun for the players, but they're also a lot of fun for the people who want to tune in and watch, right? So you want to see how the other team in your tier is doing. You want to see how your competitors are doing. You want to be able to tell your friends, hey, man, I know you can't come over tonight and watch me play. Tune in at 9 p.m. and see me play in the semifinals. So that's where it really kind of falls on Skate and I to make sure we've got broadcast teams, commentators, and producers lined out to cover the games, right? So one of the things that I've been trying to kind of put some feelers out is there are a lot of people who want to be producers. They want to learn how to use OBS, how to use overlays, how to do those cool scenes and transitions that we have, but they lack the hardware, right? The one downfall of console gaming is in order to stream and produce at that high level, you have to have a capture card. You can use some bootstrap ways to use Xbox Game Share or PS Live, but I think it's called PS Live. But it's just not the same, right? A capture card is going to give you 4K resolution, high def pass through. So you have to have those, and some of the capture cards can run you between $100-$150, and for a lot of people, that's not easy to do. So one of the things we've been kind of kicking around is if we can find these people who are willing to sign on to agree to produce. We haven't put a number on it yet, but X number of games for us, right? They're going to agree to produce 5 games. Then we'll get you a capture card. We'll buy you a capture card so that you can help us produce these games. And the thought is that we not only gain a producer, but we gain another community member. We gain another community streamer. And that does a number of things. It empowers and enables the community members to pursue their dream or their goal of streaming content and enriching their gaming experience, but it also helps us as an organization expand our footprint, right? We get our name out there. You mentioned that Blizzard has us on their radar because we had to jump through those hoops to get our Overwatch tournament off the ground, but a lot of other developers don't have that same process. I guarantee you the guys over at Infinity Ward have no idea who we are, right. and we would love to have that communication. So it's all good. It's all helpful. It helps drive the larger vision, which is, short-term goal. We expand our reach. We start to find a way to kind of self-fund some of these tournaments. So through Twitch revenue, through Twitch streaming, ad services, through YouTube, we get some of these sponsors coming in saying, hey, we saw you guys did a really good Apex tournament a couple weeks ago. We'd love to have you guys host our Apex tournament if you sell or give away some of our gear or something like that. So those are some of the things we're kind of talking about and kicking around. But I think to your point before, building some of these communities starts with a strong foundation. And before we can start to even think about doing that, we've got to make sure that we've got a strong community and streamer base to build that up. And I think that's where this partnership program really, really is going to come into play for us.
Sounds to me, Skate, like in the next 6 to 8 months, man, you're going to be so busy, my man.
Yeah, my schedule is completely booked up. If anybody would like to meet me for dinner or something, in an evening, you're going to have to schedule it sometime around November.
Well,
November, bro. We're talking about going finals up in Philly.
oh my!
I know, right? We were talking about that, and TwitchCon is the same weekend, so we may have to pull some kind of double duty here or something. I'm not sure how we're going to approach that.
Wow,
That's tough.
Wow.
Yeah, for those that skates up in Indiana, I'm in DC, so we're sitting here looking at the map. We're like, Philly's oddly.
I can drive to Philly,
right in the middle.
Drive to San Diego.
Yeah,
true, very true. Wow. So this, I'm sitting here listening to what you're saying, that you're not only focusing on what people see on screen, which is in front of the camera, but you're really putting in some thought processes and some work behind the camera. And you actually need more people behind the camera than you do in front, because you need the people behind the scenes to make everybody on screen look good. And when people on screen look good, then your overall product and your perception in the world, it just shoots way up. I'm grateful that you took the time to talk to me. This is fantastic. I love that you guys have thought front to back on this, that you have you have a plan going forward, that you're putting in the work on this. And I want you guys to succeed. There is an underserved community out there on the console side that needs people like you in charge, who are pushing forward with great ideas and giving people opportunities and providing. I say this all the time: gaming gives people hope. And if you can give 5 to 10 people hope behind the camera, then they go and tell their friends, and it just explodes, and you guys create the community that we all say that we want. So guys, thank you very, very much for making time for me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Thanks for reaching out and setting this up. It's I always love chatting with you guys, and I know Skate's been on here a few times, so I'm
almost a regular at this point, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
It's good. I mean, I think it's to your point. I mean, it's just, there's no such thing as bad press, right? Like it's good exposure for the community. It's just good. It's just good all around, man. High fives.
Yes, I agree. Guys, thanks very much for making time for me. Everybody, check out the Console Gaming League, consolegamingleague.com. Check them out on Twitter as well, at Console Gaming LG. Lots of events coming up. Console Combat, the Overwatch League wrapped up, Smash coming in, Call of Duty, Rainbow Six, Apex Legends, and this awesome streamer sponsorship program. Guys, thanks a lot for making time for me. Everybody, thank you very, very much for tuning into the Game Haus YouTube channel. If you like what you see and what you hear, please drop links, or please drop your shares and your subscribes, and we'll see you soon.